Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to the
Sadly Relatable Podcast.
We back, baby!
Yeah, I'm joking. Was you actually testing me?
I was so confused. I was like, Nishran, what the hell happened to you?
That's what I really wanted Jay to do, but I never told her to do it, so...
Oh, that's cute. Guys, as you can see, J.Ghaz is back for part 2. You guys loved her on the podcast so much, so we're happy to bring her back.
And I think last episode was really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I had a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Instantly. People instantly were messaging.
Everyone loved you.
I love it.
Aww.
I did tell you, I'm super famous and everyone loves me.
No, on the podcast, I really liked the comments. Like, the comments were like, it was so good to have Jay on. And I definitely feel like we should make it a regular thing because
Inshallah.
it's just enjoyable. You know when you're just speaking to the same person every week.
Okay,
I'm
we get it.
joking. Wallah, joking.
About the same stuff.
Scratch the record label.
But no, I think it was definitely enjoyable. I think it makes it easier when like the guest is a friend, like people that we can have conversation with naturally and stuff like that. And I think that's what's nice.
I really like that a lot of people like came forward and were like, oh, I watched the podcast, it was really nice. Well, to Jay anyway, sorry, you should be saying this, but they were like, it was really nice to get an insight on like how things are. Like, I feel like I understand you better, and that kind of made my heart really warm because like a few people, it happened with a few people.
And as well, they were saying, sorry.
No,
so
it's fine.
Sorry.
It's fine.
They were saying like, oh yeah, like, you know, someone to speak about such a like a sensitive topic as well is quite inspiring, but not to like, because I feel like a lot of podcasts, when they speak about mental health, it's like almost like scripted, whereas when it's just like naturally
friend
flowing
conversation, like being honest,
people connect with that more, innit?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like a lot of people respected you opening up about that, and it made them feel like someone was seeing them and hearing them, if that makes sense, which is, I think, really good. I think that's one of the things that I kind of learned in this process of doing a podcast is the more I started opening up with things I was going through, the more it felt like a feeling of contentment doing the podcast, because a lot of people were like, oh, this has helped me so much, you've made me feel better, and then I felt more comfortable to open up over time. But just speaking about what you go through can do for someone else is amazing.
It's like building a community and a support system there, and like normalizing that people go through stuff in life, do you know what I mean? And it's like, and on the part 2, which is today, you lot are going to see how I'm not just like a sad story, it does get better for me and how I got here today.
I feel like the last episode you genuinely just scratched the surface, and that's why I say like you didn't even like get into it yet, and that's why it's interesting because we were an hour in and we were so like submerged in the conversation.
That was so funny because like we just got to you being 2 years old.
She's like, and then I was 3.
I got to 16, thank you very much.
And then I turned 3.
Year by year.
Someone commented that I interrupted Juwayria a lot. And I would just like to say that I'm going to try my best not to do so. And I do apologise for that, guys. I think you lot are used to me and AYOUB's dynamic where we did used to interrupt each other. And then we got to the point where we'd be like...
Yeah.
And then I think it's weird because like, but I do it in real life as well. And I'll always be like, Jay, I'm sorry. And you've like started to understand because you've been like, you know that if I don't say it, I'll forget it.
Program.
But yeah, sorry guys, I'm going to try my best not to do that. But again, thank you so much for all the like support and comments.
I think with stuff like that, you have to find like a balance because obviously it's a podcast, it's discussion, not interview where we just listen to one person. The whole point is to talk about a topic, then we all give our inputs, and then you tell us more about yourself and we move forward. But there is also that line of not trying to interrupt when they're trying to get something through. But I understand you because you're the type of person, if you don't say it now, it's gone. Like you won't even be able to bring it back. But inshallah, we'll be able to find that medium.
Obviously, it's not a monologue.
We're just sitting quietly.
Yeah, it's not an interview. You're not like, yes. So how does that make you feel? Like, I mean, you've got therapy.
You're just going to see me a lot going like this. Like I done it earlier with you. You were speaking, I was about to interrupt you and I went...
Yeah, I have to hold myself back sometimes as well. Like she'll be talking and then there'll be something that comes up and I'm like, okay, slow down. And say it now.
Do you know why I'm laughing? Tell me you all have neurodiversity about telling me. Why are we all like this?
Why are we all like that?
And you was like this because I was about to say, guys, I know you see me doing this a lot on the camera. It's just a comfort for me to make me not panicky. So
okay, but
I'd like to do that like...
I don't know.
It's like a pain. I like it. Like brings me back to.
Jay's so funny. Like we've actually got to the point in life where it's like, look, I understand you guys. You might see us wearing shoes, but it's because it gives us comfort to be in the real world.
This is what. But shall I tell you why? Yeah, it's not that funny. Relax. This is why last time I said to AYOUB, this is why it's good to have diagnosis and stuff, because people just think like something. I like to clarify, like the reason why, because someone might comment, oh, why is she holding her hands like that? Blah, blah, blah. I just want to let you know before, this is another thing, before you can say something about me, I'm going to tell you about it. How about that? So I'm holding my hands because it's comfortable, okay, and it stops me from, what's it called?
Anxiety?
Having an out-of-body experience. Yeah,
okay. So the reason I laughed at what Nisrin said is because for you that's true, and I understand it. But for me, like I was just doing it, but then I got almost labelled with the fact that I'm probably dealing with the same thing as you. That's why it made me laugh.
And you kind of went, no, because I am.
No, but that's one thing I saw.
They caught me.
That's one thing I saw in the comments. People were saying, a lot of people were
Labels aren't
talking
good.
that it's not good to label certain things.
Yeah,
What's your opinion on that?
We didn't agree on that.
Yeah, no, I think it is, because you know what? I'm a bit passionate about this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fair for you to tell people what they can and can't label themselves as, whether they've got depression, whether they've got mental illness, whether they've got whatever they've got. Because you wouldn't tell someone with cancer, no, don't label it. You're fine. Just, get a nutritionist and change your diet and it'll get better. No, person's got an illness. And if, for example, a person has autism and they can get medication or therapy or change their lifestyle to make it easier for them, what's the problem? Whether they got a label or not. Do you understand?
Oh, sorry, go on, Nisrin.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I know you'll forget it.
I think there was not a lot. There was about 3 people saying like it's not good to label. And if that works for you, that is completely fine. Like if you want to live your life and you just would rather not label yourself or not think about it and that helps you just get on, that's okay. But I think for certain people, and for you to say it's not good to label and you shouldn't label, that can be a bit harmful, because for some people, especially when you receive a later diagnosis, like as an adult, it actually might just be the thing to save you. So that's why I'd say it's just kind of like we appreciate your opinions, guys, but it's just like be careful how you word it. Sorry, I keep hitting the mic.
Can I give my input on how I see them when they comment that,
I don't think it's a hate
how
comment.
I take in what they're saying, if that makes sense. So my perspective of what I think their perspective is. When they're saying don't label yourself, it's almost like don't give in to what you're labeling yourself. So when you say, oh, I am this, don't let it define you. And that's it. Every time something happens, oh, I'm just this. And it's almost like you give yourself excuses to the point where maybe you can work a little bit hard to do certain things, but because you're always labeling yourself this, you're going down this rabbit hole where it just gets worse and worse and worse.
I can see that as well. But then I can also, I see that. And if that is the case, then yeah, like I said, we appreciate your opinions and I see it, I understand it. But again, for me personally, if I hadn't got that label and started to understand myself, I genuinely don't know if I would be able to have a conversation with human beings.
Not just that, yeah. Also, we're human beings, yeah. We label ourselves. Yeah. That's what we do. We're like a pact, yeah. We have to find somewhere to fit in. That's what we do, yeah. Either it's our race, our skin color, our culture, everything about us, our education level, religion, our social status. Do you understand? Everywhere we try to label ourselves. So why, when it comes to health, we're less likely to label ourselves? At the end of the day, I don't meet people, hi, I've got autism. Obviously, first of all, I don't have a diagnosis. But okay, let's say depression. I don't say, hi, I'm depression. I'm Jay with depression. Do you get it? Yeah. But I would like people to know, and there's no problem with that. It's part of me. I'm not going to erase a whole part of my life because of social status. Like I do, coming from the Moroccan community, yeah, so many people have illnesses, but nobody admits to it. Nobody tells anyone. And what happens is people start looking down. It starts
to consume you.
Yeah, not just that. People start looking down. For example, there was this one child, I remember we went like as a big picnic as a community, and he was going around just slapping all the aunties. And the mum would say, oh yeah, no, he's just naughty. He's just naughty. Turns out he's got autism. So now the aunties would sit him down and say, sit down, stop it, put him in time out. That's not what he needs. He's got autism.
People need to understand how to deal with him.
Why is he hitting? What's he trying to say? Do you understand? Maybe that's not what we do. Maybe we sit him down. So, okay, what's wrong? Tell me. Use your words. Do you know what I mean? Hold their hands. You know how you hold their hands? You're like, use your words. So that's why you need a label. You can't just go around life. Just, you know what I mean?
Before we move on from that,
sorry,
I just really quickly want to say this. I'm going to try my best to not do that again.
Interrupt her.
Sorry,
I'm joking.
And actually, that wasn't
I interrupted her.
And then I said over her as well.
You said it at the same time. Oh yeah, so I do want to say a special shout out. I don't even know if we have a lot of mums in here, but not even just mums, sisters, whatever you are to an autistic child, for anyone that is looking after one or has one in their family or any sort of any sort of illness, but I think especially autism, because we are touching on that, like a massive shout out and well done to you guys for the patience you have, and whether you're Muslim or not, may God really reward you and your patience. And like I feel like you guys deserve some recognition and appreciation, because even if you look at the video of what it's like for an autistic child, like it's so sad. So like, yeah, shout out to all the people who are caring for autistic siblings or parents or children, because we see you and we appreciate you.
We do. I mean, I forgot my point.
Sorry.
I do agree with you guys about the whole labeling things, like, and how it can benefit someone so much. But like going into that side of what I was saying a minute ago about how sometimes it can put you in this mindset in your mind where you're more willing to let things slide and just happen instead of trying to work on it. I know it's not a thing that you can like cure yourself and get better, but for example, I think I'm talking about it from like personal experience. So I've seen family members get diagnosed with something, and then all of a sudden they understand now, and it's good for them. But then I see them slipping into it even more, and then they're just like, I've just got this.
No, he's not talking.
Do you know what
I
mean?
No,
I'm
not. I'm saying
you.
you don't make eye contact with me.
No, I'm not talking about.
No,
sorry.
Can I give you a point to that? I understand.
Let me finish it.
Same.
Though.
I've got a point after.
Okay, let me finish. So, and obviously I can't speak too well on it because this is an outside perspective. I don't know what's going on in their head, and it's not something that I'm like, oh, what the hell? I just observe it, and I think, oh, maybe you being so aware of it can cause you to now dig yourself in this hole where like you just excuse everything, and even if there's something that you would normally not do or you try not to do, now you just let it happen because it's because I'm this. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I can see how maybe there's two sides to. It's not always the best thing to label where you make it become everything.
I was going to say that I want to back up what you're saying, because it's like two sides, like 50-50. Because I'll give you a point. I have a friend, and she was like up, doing the most, like cleaning, like doing the most, very, very active. Sorry, this is like, I don't know if this is TMI. She then went to the toilet, and then she realized she had came on her period. And when she realized she came on her period, she was like, oh, guys, I'm in bare pain now. Like, I don't know why I'm so slumped all of a sudden. Like, she had just realized. So it's as soon as she was made aware of it, then all those symptoms started to, like, take effect.
Yeah.
So that's why that kind of, like, falls into what you said, if that makes sense.
It's like a placebo effect.
No, 100%. Look, what do they say? It's mind over matter, right?
Yeah.
But to an extent.
Yeah.
Now, one thing about me is I never, ever, like, sit there and say, well, this is how I am, just deal with it. Do you get it? Sometimes when I'm upset, sometimes I'll say that to like my sister or something. I'm like, well, if you don't like me, leave me alone. Do you know what I mean? But as someone who their whole life, you got to remember, my entire life, I was different. I was problematic. I didn't understand emotions. I didn't understand anything. And if I do find out that I've got autism, it takes off that guilt off of me. Do you understand? Where like I'm not going to fix it. But I've had multiple therapies. I've been on antidepressants. Nothing worked. Nothing changed. And people would say to me, why do you act like this? And I'm like, you don't get it. I just go into a zone, and then I don't even know what I'm doing. Do you understand? It's like, I'll cry, I'll scream, I'll shout. And then literally 1 minute later, I'll be like, oh, why the hell did I even do that? Remember my mom was telling you about that video? When I was younger, when I was like 15, I had a full-on tantrum, bro. Like full on. And I didn't even know I was doing it until
like she was outside.
my sister filmed me, and then after she showed me, and I was like, I didn't do that. She was like, that's you.
That's scary.
And I was like, exactly. But it's like, I went into this, like, it's not, like, I don't have, is it our body experience? I don't, like, it's not like supernatural, but.
You need to get it ruqya done.
No, it's not supernatural. Just another thing. I've had, you know what I mean, ruqyas and stuff, and it's like, I've just had to like say, okay, it's this, but I need to work on it. And I do that with you as well, with ADHD and your BPD and stuff.
That's why
we always say we have to work on it. We don't just accept. But how are you going to get the help if you don't admit there's a problem?
That's why
So
I
true.
say I've not had, like, all my friends are amazing, and everyone has been so accommodating to my physical and mental health. But no one, and like, you're all amazing. For any of you lot watching this, wallah, like all my friends, Faria, Eleanor, Diary Room, Sadia, I'm going to shout you all out just in case. For doors, sorry. There's a lot of you. You're all amazing. But I'm saying, Jay, I think because you are the most understanding of it, has, out of everyone, has been like, look, I understand. Or when we're out with people, look, she's just feeling overwhelmed right now. She's acting like this because of this. You just need to give her space or do this. And I've not really got that with a lot of people. I do have it with other friends, but I feel like you are doing it constantly, like 24/7, ball rolling every time we speak. Whereas, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like that's because I expect that from people when, and that's why, like, when I first make friends or whatever, not that I've made friends for a long time, but I do tend to like tell people, yeah, I've got, you know, this, or I think I have this, or I think I have that, because I expect people to make excuses for me. Obviously you shouldn't have any expectations when it comes to anything in life, but I don't want people to see me and think I'm being horrible and stuff. And obviously we've touched on this multiple times. But yeah, that's why I feel like I'm quite accommodating. Plus as well is I genuinely feel like people are testing your life, and people come into your life, and how you decide to deal with it, you will either be punished or rewarded in it. And like at the end of the day, if someone's not well and you treat them badly, or you're not accommodating to them, like, do you know what I mean? Are you gonna? Whereas like if you're more patient with someone, you might be like, oh, like that person's got this or this person's got that. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like as well, Allah puts you in people's lives for a reason, and He obviously only tests you with what you can deal with. And sometimes that's what that person needs. They might be overwhelmed, and they might need to hear, it's okay, like, let's just do this, let's just do that. Like, I feel like with us, alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik, it's because I'm so, everything has to be organized. And you're like, la, 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 la. We meet in the middle where I'm like, no, look, like the other day when we wrote a list of how to improve your mental health and stuff, like we can sit and we do, okay, step 1, we go here, we do this. Step 2, we do that, we do that. And that way we work together, do you understand?
And that's why it's important. And I feel like it's good to have friendships that, even if you're very similar, all friendships can work. But I like when there's a balance. So for example, and you'd know this because this is similar to our friendship as well. So you've got white friendship. Our friendship, our relationship. So for example, I'll come to Jay when I'm like maybe having a bad mental health day, and she'll sit up and she'll be like, okay, let's write a list and do this, this, this. But when Jay comes to me and she's like, oh, I've got this, I'm just like, okay, book this health test, but I don't know if I could give you like the mental support right now. Do you get it? So we kind of like balance out, like we what we can give each other is different, but I think we both appreciate and need what the other person has to offer.
Yeah, I feel like 100%, like I know like we've had conversations off the thing of like how our friendship is balanced, and I feel like you are very compassionate. So like, remember that time I was having a mental breakdown, I was lying down on her floor and I was literally crying, remember? And you was able to get me out of that state by like comforting, talking, like being like, it's okay, like this and that.
Do you think? I feel like sometimes I'm not great at that. I mean, I feel
like you are, like every time like I'm in a bad, but this is the thing though, like with me is my mental health is okay, and then I have a breakdown. And I feel like when I have a breakdown, you are there to pick it up. Do you get it? Doesn't mean like every day you face every day you face something. Do you get it? Because your mood changes throughout the day. Do you get it? Because you're BPD, because you're ADHD. Whereas me, I might be okay one week, and then the next week I'm on the floor. I'm like, I hate life. Do you get it? So then that's where it balances.
I have a question. Have you ever both been in that down state together at the same time?
And we're like, it's my turn.
Or once. Like only once. So
we did once. Remember, we just were sleeping in the bed all week.
Oh yeah.
Don't you think that's funny that like for some, other than that one time, you've both been there, good whilst the other one's down, like to like be there.
Yeah. So
that's
I'll
crazy.
give you an example. That is true. I don't remember that though. My memory's just bad. But like the other day, I think I know how. I've learned a little bit, because you don't have them a lot. But I think I've learned how to get her out of them. So
and you see the signs maybe leading.
And I see when it's going to get worse, like with the clothes of me and you. We'll explain that in a second. You know, when you're picking my outfit.
Oh, yeah.
So the other day, she was kind of going into it, and I feel like I knew what to say. Like, look, don't worry, I'm going to come to yours later. We're going to do this, we'll figure it out together. And I noticed her start to calm down, if that makes sense. So I feel like we've learned a lot about each other. But even Jay, explain the clothes situation. So I struggle
every
to go
time
out.
we're going out. She gives me the worst anxiety, because the makeup, first of all, the makeup takes hours. But then I'm like, now the clothes. So I'm like, did you pick a clothes? Like, did you pick what you're gonna wear? Whatever. And then she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna take another 4 hours.
Because she knows that basically what happens is I get so overwhelmed, and there's been loads of times where I'll get to the point and I'll be like, nah, I'm not going out.
Yeah, forget it.
So Jay, now when I'm getting ready, she and
I hate like change of plans. I'm like, we're going out, because now I'm here, I'm ready.
That's why whenever me and Nishan have a day for the podcast booked, I try to have as little conversation with her as possible, because I know that if she gets a chance to tell me that she wants to do a different day, then it's going to change. So I just won't call, or like she'll call me and be like, I'll try and end the conversations quick before she's like, do you know what, I'm thinking maybe we film a different, because like I'm a very scheduled person. So everything, like if I've booked you in this day, it means I haven't got space most likely to do anything any other day, and then I'll always have to try like figure out when you're like, I can't really be asked to do it on this day.
No, so it's similar to that as well, but it's more just like in the moment overwhelmed.
Yeah, I've seen you like sometimes even when we have plans, 1 minute I'm coming, no I'm not coming, I'm coming, I'm not coming, no I'm not coming. And I think it's you going through that motion of like you give up on the makeup.
I get
and then you
overwhelmed
come back.
and then like I get the emotions back again. But what happens is, we'll be like, my makeup will be ready, maybe have like 20 minutes to go out. We'll be in the wardrobe, and then I'll be like, okay, outfit. And then Jay will see me getting stressed out. I don't have this top, I don't have, and when she sees me getting stressed out, she's like, okay, look, calm down. What about this and this?
I start picking out random
How do you
things.
have the patience to do that?
Yeah, you got a lot of patience along
I don't know, you know, because I don't think I'm a very patient person. Do you know what it is?
I think you are.
I'll tell you what it is. It's a bit selfish because I'm like, we're going out, so
Yeah, you want to.
yeah, I'm like,
really
we're going out, so whatever we need to do to go out, we're gonna do it.
Okay.
Innit? I will stand here and find you an outfit. We're going out, and I'm like,
Okay.
no, you know, you can just put that one with that one with this one. But no, but I do it as well when we're not going out, when she's going out with someone else or she's got meetings and stuff. I can help out and stuff. But I don't know, it's in my nature, innit? Like one of my love languages is acts of service. I think it's the top one is acts of service and quality time. So for me, it's like I like doing that. That's how I show someone that I care, and it's just in my nature. Do you understand? Maybe because that's how I was brought up. I don't know.
But yeah, so we jump back in.
Yeah, how long do we have left though? That's the thing.
It's only 30 minutes in. We got.
Okay, that's all right. Let's get started then.
Woo!
Right. So part 2, obviously.
Where did we leave off?
Secondary school. No, but this is where it gets good, isn't it?
Okay.
So I got to a stage and I was like, look, yeah, you can sit here and feel sorry for yourself, or you can get up and change your life, innit? And so I started working from 13, by the way. I don't know if you know this. But basically, yeah, that's where I left off. I went to a Peru school, like I got into bear fights, then went to a college, then I threw a table at someone. That was where it happened.
Oh, in
some
college.
Girl, yeah, that was at college. That was Northwest College, actually. I should have said it out because it's right there. Anyway. Yeah, went to Northwest College, ended up getting into a fight with a girl, threw a table, whatever. Anyway, sat there and said, you know what, obviously education's not for me, you know what I mean? Started working. I was working as an admin, actually, for like this Arab company, literally just copy and papers and like answering calls, just that. Very illegal to hire someone that young, but anyway. Then, by the way, I was making like £400 a week.
What age?
Minimum.
What
From
age?
like 14.
13, mate.
What?
Fresh
She had
out.
paper?
Yeah.
Off my bed.
Literally. Anyway, you think I'd save her? I swear it
I was asking my mum for £10 a week when I was that age.
Yeah, and then I I did like dibbled and dabbled in different jobs, like nanny, makeup artist, whatever. Got to about 16, and my mum, I think it was my mum that said, you need to go back to school now. Like, you know, you've had a break. People are doing their A-levels, like, you know what I mean? And also my dad, and then obviously myself as well. I was like, stop feeling sorry for yourself, get up. And so then I went to college and I redone my GCSEs. It was in 6th form. And I didn't know how smart I was until I got to college, because I was in a foundation class. Thank you. I was in a foundation class and I was doing the higher papers in everything. And so I did textiles A-level. I don't know why. I just had to pick a random A-level, right, to be able to stay in the 6th form. And then do my GCSEs on the side. That's how it works, isn't it? So I did textiles, and then the textiles was clashing with my maths, my higher maths, so I had to be in foundation. Do you get it? Anyway, so I did a lot of self-teaching, and then I had a teacher, Mr. Abdul Aziz, I think his name was Miskin. Wallah, he was such a nice teacher. Like at lunch times or after school, we'd literally sit and just do maths homework all the time. My physics teacher as well, he used to let me as well stay after and do anyway. Yeah, and then ended up getting all A stars and A's after just 1 year of putting my head down and studying. But that year was difficult because obviously I've got other siblings. Like, you know, as my siblings are getting older, the house is getting smaller, so I didn't have much space to do, you know, my work and stuff. So I was like between my mum's house and my nan's house because I needed that clarity, that space just to focus and stuff. So I used to go to my nan's house a lot. And then, yeah, I think I got to about just after I think I finished my GCSEs. Me and my mum sat down, and I used to fight with my sisters all the time. When I say fight, I mean like smash your head in the mirror.
Oh,
like
damn.
physical, like her mum was telling me the other day, like physical fight.
Like proper, like sit on top of you and like, yeah, we was like World War III in that house. Me and Ramesa mainly. But yeah, because we're both hot blooded and stuff. So yeah, fights. Me and my mum sat down. She said, "Look, yeah, this ain't gonna work, innit? I think you should move out." Now my mum, she knows me because a lot of people in the Moroccan community were like your mum doesn't care about you, and then other people were like, how could you do that? Like, isn't that haram? Isn't that bad? But it was a very positive thing. And I wasn't kicked out. A lot of people think I was kicked out of the house. I wasn't. It was very much a mutual conversation. So, she sat me down and she was like, obviously, you need your space. And she knows I like space and she knows I'm mature. I was very mature. I was, at the age of 16, I probably was acting like I was 23. Like,
I mean, you had a job from 13, so clearly you were matured at a very young age.
Exactly. I knew responsibility. I know what paying bills is. I know how to handle money. I knew the like what working for money is. I knew a lot of things. I obviously knew how to cook, clean, everything. So I was like, you know what? Yeah. So then I went, there was a transition period. I went to live with my nan for a little bit, up until I was about 17, I think it was. 17, I officially moved out. I did approach the council. I do want to say that. And I wasn't put into a council house. I was put into a, what are they called again? Housing association. Yeah, housing association, which is, it's not private and it's not council, it's in between. So it's a landlord, you have a landlord, but the landlord is a company, but you are eligible for like housing benefit or whatever, and they can't just kick you out at any point. You have to go to court. It's not like a private landlord can give you like 2 months notice and say get out. With housing association, they have to give you notice, they have to give you a reason, right? And they have to, and normally they take you to court to get you out.
Yeah.
Because they're backed by the council. But you never own the house. It's not yours or anything like that. It literally does not belong to you. You have to give it back. Like, unlike council houses kind of become yours, because you get like a lot of people's council houses, I think they get like secured tenancies and stuff.
You
where
can buy them for
life.
like a percentage as well, like a big
cheaper
discount.
yeah.
Whereas the housing associations, normally you can't buy them. You can't even buy them, a lot of them. But before that, I did live in a hostel for about 6 months. It was a youth hostel, so it wasn't.
What age was that?
About 17. This was all 17 was like beginning of 17 till like end of 17 was like moving a lot. Lived in a hostel for about 6 months, and it was a youth hostel. It was they used to like teach us how to cook. They used to take us on so many trips. I used to love it. But I was caring for my nan at the time, so I used to stay there 3 nights a week, because you have to stay 4 out of 7 nights. But I used to stay 3 nights in a hostel and then told them, like, I'm looking after my nan. Like, what do you want me to do? And then they basically said that I'm intentionally homeless, which is when you leave the house, you leave your parents' house for, like, misbehaving and stuff. So that I had to
run away.
I had to appeal that, because they were like, also, like, you're at your nan's house. Like, why can't you stay there? And I had to appeal it. It was very sad. I had to appeal it on the fact that my nan's terminal and she was dying. That, like, she only had, like, 6 months left. She only had 6 months left. So I was like, she's only got 6 months left. Like, where am I going to go? I can't go back to my mom's house. It's not a safe environment for me mentally. Like, I don't get on with people there. I have fights. It's put me in a bad position. And then I had gone to the GP. I didn't even know this. I allegedly gone to the GP when I was 13 and told them that, like, I'm suffering from suicidal thoughts. And I don't remember if I did or didn't. Like, I genuinely don't. I do remember when I got kicked out of school, I did speak to the GP and I was like, am I bipolar? Is there something wrong with me? Because one of the teachers must have said, maybe you're bipolar. So I was like, am I bipolar? And I sat there and he offered me a book. He said, you should read the book. Anyway, he literally moved back in his chair like he was scared. And he goes, why don't you try and read this book? No, wallah. And I just looked at him. But that's what kind of supported my case, was that I had been suffering from mental health problems from when I was a baby, and then also 13 as I kind of came forward and I didn't get help. Anyway, house whatever. So we got up to, then I did my A-levels. Did my A-levels in physics, chemistry and maths. Shout out to me. Very difficult, very time consuming. If anyone has done physics and maths, it ain't the one in it. There's like 32 mark questions, literally, like, and you just sit there at the paper like, where do I even start? In my A2s so by the way, the timeline is all messed up, because I did my, obviously, AS levels at 17. My A2s were I did my AS levels, at 17, and then my A2s went into 18. I can't remember. But anyway, my nan died when I was 18. Allah yarhamha.
And you had a really, really close connection with your
Really,
nan. So
yeah.
like,
She was like my second mum.
Yeah,
like
so
I grew up in her house.
Yeah, you were like living with her, caring for her, spending a lot of time with her. Like that was literally like your second mum.
Yeah.
So that must have been really difficult for you.
Very, very difficult, because what I said last time, my mum would accommodate for me. A lot of the time that meant that she would leave me at my nan's house while she, you know, goes and runs errands with my sisters, or like takes my sisters to my auntie. But me was with my nan. I was very much like me and my nan, like even till the age of like 17, we'd like cuddle in bed, like I'd hold her arm. I know.
That's so
And yeah, my nan was very compassionate and very affectionate in terms of like physical touch, whereas my mum isn't. And obviously that's because of her own life. Like there's no such thing. It's not a bad thing. Do you get it? It's just my mum's like not very touchy-feely when it comes to like teenagers.
Yeah.
When you're a child, obviously when you get to a certain age, my mum's like, okay, been too like, yeah, that's enough now.
Calm down,
Whereas
now,
my nan, she was nothing. Gigi, come here. Just grab my leg. She'd do that. Do you get it? So yeah, so me and my nan were very, 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 very close. Yeah, and then obviously I lived with her. So then, yeah, it was kind of like mourning my mum, but obviously my mum's alive. But it was just, it's a very difficult time. I remember being in my A2s and just like sitting there in maths and just crying because I couldn't.
That must have been so hard.
It was, but this goes back to irregulated emotions. Is when my nan actually died. When I found out, the day I found out, I did not react. Like I was very. Yeah, like. Are you crying?
No.
Ra, don't cry.
You know, the whole time you were talking, I was going, listen, don't cry.
I can see your eyes slowly.
No, I was just thinking about how difficult it would have been for you.
It was fine. Look, you get over things, innit? Like, but it has impacted me a lot now because I didn't mourn. I don't think I mourned enough. I went into almost like a state of shock. And my whole family were like hysterical, except for me and my mum. We were the only two people that weren't hysterical.
I'm sorry. I just want to wipe away this. By the way, like it was literally just me. What made me cry is because we speak about your nan all the time, but then you were saying how like you were doing your A levels and then you were like, it was a really hard time. And I was just thinking of like little you going through so much and then on top of that having other stuff. And that was what made me a bit upset. But
it's life, innit?
You know, you not showing that much emotion and stuff like that. Do you think that has an effect on you? Like, is it more like almost like bottling
100%
in the feelings?
100%. I'm gonna get to that now. So what happened was, what I know now is I had an out of body experience in it. It's like I just shut it down. I said, you know what, shut down. Because I saw my family, my sisters, my aunties, everyone was upset, everyone was crying. So I just thought, okay, maybe now I have to stand up. Do you know what I mean? Like me and my mum are very like that. We're very almost have that masculinity where like we're like, okay, you know, like as a man, when you see your family like are starving, you're like, I'm gonna go and find food. Yeah. So we saw like I saw my family like down, and then me and my mum were just like, cool, it's our turn to step up now, innit? So I stepped up. You know, when people would come, obviously host them. Obviously everyone else did in the family. I'm not like saying my family didn't do anything. Yeah. But ended up washing my nan's body. Someone had to do it. Me and my mum, my cousin and my sister did it. My sister and my cousin obviously broke down halfway through, so me and mum had to like complete it, finish it off. The most traumatizing experience of my life. I would not recommend. I'm not gonna lie. I do not recommend washing your loved ones. It's very scary because their body's there, but their soul isn't. It's really scary.
But the only
you don't
thing
connect
is,
with them.
Sorry to interrupt you, just quickly in case you forget. I spoke to a friend who did that for a loved one, and she had a different experience. She said it was really beautiful. So I think it depends on yourself, because don't, like what Jay said, take it with a grain of salt, and like I would say, don't do something just because she said no, don't do it. Like think about yourself and your own, you know, yourself basically, because you don't want to live your life and kind of regret not doing it. But I think it's different for everyone. Like me personally, I don't think I could do it.
Should we explain what it is for people that don't understand?
Yeah, so when a person dies, in Islam, you have to wash their body, but you have to do it gently and in a way that's very humane, because they can still feel it. So normally people ask to have their family do it. But there are people in the mosque that offer the service. Like, you don't have to be there, but a lot of people like to monitor just to make sure, because with a job, if you do a job for a long time, you can become a bit rough with things like quickly. Whereas like when it's your loved one, you're very careful, you're very soft. I'm not gonna say it wasn't a bad experience in terms of like what I saw. Like that was all normal in it. Like, it was my nan, mashallah, like she smelled of musk, subhanallah. And she was quite big, but even when they buried her, they were like, she was very light. So that's good signs, isn't it? Alhamdulillah and stuff. So it was just, for me, the emotional experience that was just like messed up. Like, I wish I didn't see, because that's almost like the last image I have is like this body. Do you understand? Instead of like all the other images, it kind of overrides it. But yeah, so you just wash them, you clean their fingernails, you pump their stomach, you clean their body, you just wipe down softly, you comb their hair, do you understand? And then you wrap them up and stuff.
Yeah, like I personally, with that being said, I personally, from knowing myself, and I'd like to ask you as what you think, is I don't think I could do that. Like for anyone in my family, anyone, I couldn't do that. I don't think I could do it for my friends. That's just me knowing myself and what I can deal with emotionally. But I think it just depends on yourself. If you think you're able to, I think you could recognize that yourself. Do you think you'd be able to do that?
Yeah, I think I would want to do it, because there's a part of me that feels like I know where they're heading to. And I kind of want to be present in that moment. I don't know whether...
you don't know where they're heading to,
no,
that's the issue.
Not as in like, I know where they're heading to is in like the grave.
Oh, okay.
Do you know, I know from what it says in our religion, what they're about to experience and all these things. So I don't know whether it offers any comfort or anything, but being part of that process, being able to make dua, give them their wash, do all that stuff, is almost like, I don't know, I just want to be there and help as much as possible. So if someone in my family did pass and they needed someone to do it, I'd want to.
I do want to say, I feel like as a man, I don't know, Allah at a minute, that's why like men are able to switch off emotions to an extent. Obviously you lot still feel, but in a time of like emergency, you're able to just be like, you know what, there's better in this. Whereas us women, that's why maybe we're not allowed to go into the graveyard as much, like, and like sit there and stuff, because we do get very emotional. Our emotions kind of take over. We don't know how to regulate it. But that's not saying everyone. There are some women that are different. There are some men that are different in it. But as an overall, a man,
the majority,
like, what you're saying is you're basically, you're able to say, okay, this is that person, I love them, but I'm looking at that.
Yeah.
Whereas us women, we're like, no, I love them.
You're focused on that thing. Yeah. We can be a bit more like...
We feel...
Not rational, but I'm able to separate the emotions and think, okay, but I care about this important thing.
You think more rationally, because you can see
and
it
every
clearer.
time that you maybe do think about them or what you experience, you'll always think about that, which would take you out of that.
Yeah. So for me, when I think of it, I would, obviously I don't know. I've never been in that situation. So inshallah, I'm able to actually do that. I know it will affect me a lot seeing them like that. But for me, it would be, instead of the memory of seeing their body like without a soul it would be more of the memory I'd think of, I was with them on that journey. You know that journey, like we all know what's going to happen. Our souls going to be above our bodies. They're going to see the world and for what it really is. And they'll be able to hear us, knowing that I was there on that journey. Like, I don't know, it makes me feel like I did something to help.
No, it's true. It's good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I will say though, obviously, if it came to, and this is just the person I am, if it came to there was no one else to do it, obviously I'd do it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't resent anyone, like, because I didn't resent my sisters. I didn't resent anybody in my family, because I just had to do it. Someone has to do it. But I wouldn't volunteer myself.
Again,
Same way you're saying, like, you would. I would not say I'll do it. I want to do it.
You'll step up if you need to.
If I have to. If no one else is capable, I know my emotions and I know I've been there. But what happened to me was, it's from that day I've been in an out of body experience and I've never come back.
Really?
Ever. Yeah, this is something
that just gave me chills.
Yeah, like I've never been able to come back. Now, a lot of people don't know what out of body experience is. Like I'm not almost in tune with my emotions. I don't feel, I haven't felt happiness for a very long time. And you know the feeling of happiness, it's not laughing, it's not like joking. It's just like when you're happy, you don't have any worries. You're just like, oh, I'm happy. I've never had that. Like since my nan has died, I'll be dead ass honest with you lot. I've never, ever experienced happiness since, like joy, like actual, like physical, you know, your heart's fluttering. I haven't. And the only emotions I feel is anger and sadness, but in extremes. I feel it in extremes. I don't feel like sad. Oh, I'm sad. So it's just, I've switched off mentally, constantly, and I've never been able to come back from that. And that's why I fidget a lot and stuff. And yeah, and since then I've had anxiety, panic attacks, and that's all because I chose in the moment, of course, like, it's not like it wasn't a choice, like it wasn't a conscious decision, but my body chose to switch off. And that's why it's very dangerous. I wish, wallahi, that at that time I had gone to therapy and I had just let it out, because even though I had episodes of crying, I had episodes of sadness. Why is AYOUB crying? You know what, yeah? I'm looking at AYOUB and I'm trying not to look at him because I know if I look at this one, I'm going to cry.
No,
and
the
I'm
whole
looking at
time
AYOUB
you're talking, I'm like, don't cry, don't cry, don't
Listen,
cry.
I'm just going to look at the camera now. Guys, come on, man, listen. But yeah, so yeah, I had episodes of crying and stuff, but I wish I had let it out. And this is why mental health really matters, and this is why bereavement matters and therapy matters, because your body is that all that negative energy, you're just letting it in, but you're not letting it out. Do you understand? And it's very dangerous for you. It could even cause cancer, you know?
Yeah, stress.
Like stress can cause cancer,
Of course
bro.
it can, yeah. And even, you know how people say there's people out there that die of a broken heart. Like, you can literally pass away and they say that they don't know a reason why, but then something really sad or traumatic would have happened to them maybe a month before.
Yeah.
So that's why, and as I get older as well, it's so important to look after yourself and take a breather and actually sit down and be in tune with your emotions, because what you described is kind of what I'm going to describe now, but there are different levels, different situations completely. But I had a moment in my life in the last 2 years where when I describe it, the way I describe it is something died inside of me on that day, and what you've said seems similar to that. And that's why, like, I mean, we're trying to figure it out together. But what I've realized is the best way, and for anyone watching this and for you, I mean, I'm not best with advice, but I'm saying from what I've found is really sitting down and understanding and accepting and embracing how you feel and embracing it. There's no shame in it. Sit down. This is how I feel, and it's okay. And letting go of those emotions, like you said, because if you keep them in, that's when the problem's gonna, maybe not a month from now, 2 months from now, even a year, but it will get to a breaking point. And that's, like I said, what we're trying to figure out now. And it's just about getting through life and figuring it out. And, you know, the happiness thing is more like this world, and I know this is very cliche again, but it's like, if you're not Muslim watching this, I really apologize, but we don't believe we will really find happiness in this world. And it's like they say, a prison, the dunya is a prison for the believer, and I feel that, and I've accepted that. I think I think
accepting that helps you get through life, because then you know we're not meant to be happy here. This isn't for us to settle in and be like we're going to be the happiest we can ever be. Like, we're here and for a reason. It's a test, and then inshallah we're able to make it to
it's about
Jannah.
I think for you as well, and for all of us actually, I've found that the happiness comes in impacting as many people as you can along the way. So that's why I think you put a lot into making other people happy and fixing their lives, and I think that may not bring you happiness, but I do think it brings you a sense of joy. So that's what I found with the podcast, with your social media, with your friends, and with us. Like, nothing brings us happiness, but helping people and speaking to people and making people happy is what does, and that's why we do it as well.
I think for me, I found two things which you would agree with as well, is obviously helping other people. But like, when I think back to the moments where I'm like truly happy, or moments where I really I think back, and even thinking about the moment I feel joy in my heart and happiness, it's always been moments with family, moments with like friends, like the moments where we've just been us. You know how we have the thing where everyone just sits in the kitchen, me and you, our uncles and everything, and we'll all just sit there and roast each other, we'll bust jokes, blah, 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 and then we'll all go our separate ways. But their moments are like the best moments. And like, that's why I always I kind of put myself in that mindset of, although I'm trying to chase all these dreams and do these things, like,
we're so submerged.
I want to focus on creating time for family, because I feel like, imagine you're chasing something and you don't give time to your family, but that's the only time you're ever feeling real anything to make you feel
you know what's
joy
mad?
or happiness.
We say this years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, like, you know what, I need to focus on family. It's like, bro, 5 years have gone past and I'm so submerged in my own brain and my life, but the end goal for me is so that I can spend time with my family. But along the way, and my friends, of course, along the way, all I'm doing is not doing that, if that makes sense.
And most of us don't get to that end goal, because that's something that in my head I will always say as well. Like, you have in life, I have goals and somewhere that I want to get and what I'm trying to achieve. But there's a part of me that's happy to die knowing that I was working towards that goal every day, because the journey, like for example, what Russ says, not to quote him in this, but he says the journey is everything. So actually being on the journey is nice. Yeah. But how am I going to enjoy life if on that journey I'm just so focused on that goal and not taking time for my family and all these different people?
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I will say, you see that feeling? It's going to sound bad, isn't it?
No,
that feeling with your family and friends, I don't get.
Mm.
Genuinely, like, have you ever felt lonely in a room full of people? That's like constant how I feel, and I feel like it's bad because my family get upset.
Yeah.
Like, and Nisra knows this as well. Like, my mum will call and say, "Yeah, you know, we want to come," and then I sit and I think, why do you want to be around me? Like, what do I offer you? Do you get it? Because I don't get that feeling from anybody, and literally, it's weird. It's very scary.
It's not weird.
It's horrible, and also my family are like, we're very tight-knit family where we show love in different ways. So we don't like sit there, I love you, but we're like cutthroat, I will die for you. Like no matter what, loyalty to the bone. So when we're together, there's a lot of like, everybody has something they're going through, do you understand? So then it becomes overwhelming and stuff. And my sisters say to me all the time, you've changed. And obviously anyone who used to follow Just Hijabis knows, like, even our videos have changed and our dynamic has changed. And it's just my personality. I don't know what's going on. And I wish I could get that feeling from being around my sisters as much. Like, is it Ayn? I don't know.
I do want to say as well, I'm glad that you've said that, because there might have been people watching this now that heard AYOUB saying that and me being like, yeah, family, and then they do feel how you feel, and it might have made, I don't know, even if it's one or two, three people feel what you just said, like, it's weird, is there something wrong with me? No,
it's not. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you. It's okay. It's just about understanding it and figuring out what it is. And not every family or everyone is the same. But with you, I think it's like, you love your family and your family are amazing, Allahumma barik, but you're just saying you find it hard to connect on that level, and that's okay. And you know that, right? Like, that's okay.
Yeah, I know. I did connect with someone, but obviously that didn't work out. That was the only kind of thing that I connected to and felt happy in the moments. Like, there's like, I felt comfort and stuff, but obviously that was a relationship.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out, and that's the only kind of, I would say, the only kind of love that's made me happy. Do you get it?
But when she says relationship, guys, before people start like thinking, you know what I mean? She was engaged, so it was like a to be married relationship.
Don't do it. Check it.
So it wasn't like I'm a boyfriend of like 4 years. No, she was engaged to get married.
Yeah, and didn't work out. There was a point, obviously, like I said, there was a person and a point where I felt that connection. But yeah, things happen, innit? Life happens. I do want to say though, I hope now everyone can see why I am the way I am. Very, like, nothing gets to me. Like, all the hate comments, I don't care, bro. I've been through enough. Do you get it? I genuinely don't care what people think about me. And it's not confidence. You know, people are like, oh, you're so confident. It's not. I just don't care. It's like, okay. And then, like, do you know what I mean? Like, when, like you said, when something dies inside of you, it almost like, you know, it changes your perspective of life. You're like,
I agree. Like, I went through a stage where, not to make it about myself, sorry.
No, you're right.
Similar to that, where something so bad happened to me, and then I noticed that when people or humans would do like evil things, it got to a point where I'd feel nothing. So now, like, obviously certain things get to me when it's a lot overwhelming, but now, like, people would do things that if they'd done it to me 3 years ago, it would have set me off, and I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of human beings for you. So it's more of a thing where, and it's sad that human beings have to get used to the pain and used to bad things. It is sad.
It's kind of weird because, like, a lot of things I think can change your perspective on life, and it doesn't always have to be something negative. So for me, I always think back to when I first started getting on Dean properly, and like, for me that was such a pivotal point in my life because it's changed me as a person, like, completely, with my mindset, how I think of everything. And I just remember that in that time, it was when my iman was obviously the highest it's ever been. Like, I was the most connected, the most, like, just into everything. That I remember we were going through so much stress as a family. It was a time that a lot of stuff happened to us in our family, like things that were just like you would have never thought could even happen were happening. And I was so like, because I was just started getting into my dinner and everything, I was like, oh, we're all going to die one day anyway. But it wasn't in a negative way. I was like, this stuff doesn't even matter. I'm going to, like, I had still in my heart that fear of what's going to happen to me when I die, that I didn't care. Every time something bad happened, I was like, I actually don't care because I'm going to die and I'm scared of where I'm going to go. So I was just focused on my din, and I miss being in that situation. I didn't care about worldly things. I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna die one day, and I want to focus on that.
That's a beautiful thing.
It was one of the best like times in my life because I felt so like unbothered other than about my deen, and I wish I could be at that high of a level
Inshallah.
again. Like obviously it fluctuates, and sometimes I feel like I'm kind of trapped by the dunya. Like I get attached to things. I'm trying to like detach from social media, from this type of stuff.
That's why I say that when you really, like for you guys, everyone goes through stress, whatever it is you're dealing with right now, and you, when you really, the thing that helps me is when you really say, why am I stressing when Allah is in control of everything? When you really say that, and you say, even if it's a human being that's stressing you out, or whether you're getting bullied or harassed or anything, and you think to yourself, Allah is control, and Allah is only anyone will only harm me. No one will harm me, without Allah allowing them to. So let me go straight to the source and put my trust in Him. And that's the thing that gets you out of that. And that's something I would really recommend you guys doing, because it's helped me a lot. And that's really like nice that you explain that, because I remember, and it's so nice to see as well, like it's a beautiful thing to see, and one of the things that does give me happiness, because I remember there was times when we were like younger, like a lot younger, maybe like 15, 16, where my mum would be like screaming up the stairs, if you don't pray, then get out of my house. If you're not praying in my house, then leave, like you're not allowed to be here. Like obviously in a loving way, she didn't actually mean it, but she was trying to show us the extent of like, you're not going to live in this house and not pray. And now it's like, to see it is really, really beautiful. I'm not going to lie. Allahumma barik. May Allah make it easy for you and everyone watching, and bring us closer.
But that's why, like, leading from what you said about the dunya being prison for the believer, and what you said about the deen, that's why in the time where we're struggling and when we're being tested, you just need to see it as you're being tested. Allah's trying to bring you closer to Him. Do you understand? Because if we all lived a great life and we were so consumed, we don't care, bro. Respectfully, how many of us, when we're having a good day, go and do, you know what I mean, sujood shukr, do you know what I mean? How many times do we go alhamdulillah? Like obviously a lot of us do say alhamdulillah, but to what extent are you saying alhamdulillah? Let's say you just got a banging job, do you know what I mean, that you've been praying for, you've been wanting. How often are you praying tahajjud, you know, trying to thank Allah? How often are you doing khair? Do you get it? You get lost in it. So Allah has to bring you back to reality. And maybe Allah is trying to test us so that we can hate the dunya. We hate it. I don't want to be here. I hate it. I just want to dedicate my life to being a good Muslim, and then in the akhirah get what I need. You get it? And this is why you're being tested again and again and again and again. Because Allah's trying to show you, almost Allahu a'lam minute, Allah maybe trying to show you that this life is just gonna hurt you. Don't put your trust in it. Like even your job, you think that you're getting paid by your boss. You're not. You're getting paid by Allah.
Yeah, it's true.
Like you might have a bad month, and I've seen this firsthand. Yeah, I would, like, me and my mum stopped talking for like a week, whatever, childish. And I was struggling in it financially. Like it was bad. Like, but it was random financial struggle. Like it wasn't even, do you know what I mean, part of the plan. Like I have the same job, but it was just, and then, you know, I literally called my mum and I apologized, and, you know, I said, I'm sorry, this and that. The next week, bro, we were up. Do you get it? And I said, what? Literally, because Allah is a Razzaq. And if you sit down and you say, like, you know what? Allah's going to bring me rizq. Obviously, you still have to move around. You can't just sit there. Allah's going to bring me rizq. Yeah. But if you're doing your best, and then you're saying, Allah's going to bring me rizq, Allah's going to bring me what's meant for me, and whatever's not meant for you, it's just not meant for you in that exact time. Like, you remember you were saying, I think you said it one time on your live or something, that Allah doesn't just answer your dua straight away. Sometimes He answers it. He never answers no. Sometimes He answers it as not now, not in this life, or
I've got something better for you.
Yeah, or I've got something better for
and
you.
And either way, it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's never no. It's
Guys,
just not now.
Sorry to jump in, but on that note, they say that when you get to the day of judgment, you'll wish none of your du'as ever got answered. Everything that you've ever got, and you're so happy that Allah answered it, you wish it wouldn't, because of how much reward there is on that day. You would look and be like, I wish everything I ever asked for never got answered, because there's so much reward.
The most beautiful, I'm going to hit him with it, Jay.
When 1,000 people in the room.
There's always that one.
Let's read in this hadith.
So this is my favorite hadith. I might have said it on the podcast.
Maybe.
I forgot, but I'm going to say it again, because this is my favorite hadith that brings me so much peace and comfort anytime I'm struggling. So, and I hope it does the same for you and everyone listening. It said that when the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that when we see the reward for those that were tested in this life, whether that's depression, anything you're going through that is you're struggling with, anything, then the people who weren't tested are going to wish they could go back to this life and have their skin cut up. So the people who weren't tested in the afterlife, when they see the reward of the people who were tested and had struggles, they're going to wish that they could come back to this life and literally not only just go through what we go through, what you guys go through, have their actual skin cut off.
Yeah.
And to me, does that not make you think like, thank you, Allah, for everything?
Yeah, that's what. That's one of the things that like it just warms your heart to hear, because I know for a fact that you guys have been through all this stress. We've all been through stress, but on that day you'll be like, take me back and give me even more. Like that's how much, because you'll see the reward that you're gonna get for all the things you've been through, and you'll be like, put me back, but double it, times it by 100, just because of how much reward you know you'll get.
Yeah, 100%. What was I gonna say to you? I'll just wrap it to the point.
Let's wrap this up. I don't know why I'm emotional. I think my period's coming.
Definitely. What was I going to say? Yeah, anyway, let me quickly run through. Went uni a couple times, didn't like it. No, honestly. Did mechanical engineering, didn't like it. Did nursing, didn't like it. Did teaching, didn't like it. Whatever, lockdown happened, I started TikTok. And yeah, it went off. Obviously, I was already doing YouTube. I already had followers and stuff, but I dedicated it to TikTok, and yeah, been doing TikTok since. And I will say that some people might have times where they don't like doing social media and stuff.
She looked at me.
And I looked at her. No, so I heard you lot's conversation earlier. But I love it, because I'm not going to lie, I don't think I will quit social media anytime soon, because it's the one thing in my life that I feel like I've done right. It's the one thing that I feel like I was born to do social media. You know, that you have to have a certain personality, a certain skin, a certain, trauma experience to be able to deal with the shit on social media. Because, sorry, I don't know if I can swear, people are horrible on social media, bro, but they're just as nice. They're horrible and they're lovely. Do you know what I mean?
Extremes.
I said it on live the other day, because I kind of go through stages where I'm like, I can't deal with this. It's not worth it. And then I think of my followers, Sadly Relatable family, even the people that comment, view my life, and I'm like, wait, no, they are worth it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's so annoying, like going up and down, because some days it's worth it and some days I'm like, nah, it's too much.
Yeah.
Do you know, our perspectives are so different, because for me, when like we had that conversation earlier on and I was saying what I was saying, but mine, like I love social media, I love content creating, I love doing all these things, and I feel the same. Like maybe it's not in, I do like doing comedy stuff, but maybe it's not exactly the same as what you put out, but I love creating content. I love being able to be in front of a camera, be me, do what I want to do. But for me, my struggles are not comments or people. My struggles is that because I'm on this journey, and when I put so much effort into something, it doesn't perform the way I want it to perform, and you do get lost in the numbers and there's this comparison. They're doing this and they've made it here and I'm still stuck here. It is a mental toll. And I know you shouldn't care about numbers, but when it's your career and what you're trying to do, it can take a lot out of you, especially if someone who overthinks, someone who's got anxiety of the future, someone who's got these things. A lot of the stuff I'm doing, I'll put effort in and then it doesn't work out. And I'm like, I question myself. Should I be doing this? Should I not be doing this? And then it's doing good. And I'm like, oh yeah, I love this. Let's keep going. That's like this wave of stress.
100%.
It's like seeing your hard work pay off.
Yeah, going off like what you say, and I say this all the time, like everyone knows I say this, is a lot of the time the right people don't get the right recognition, right? Like, for example, even myself, I personally believe I should be way over 1 million followers in it, because of the amount of people who know me, the amount of people who've watched my stuff. Like, I've had people ask me straight in my face that are like, oh my God, I love you, and I'm like, is it? Yeah, like, and then they're like, okay, I'm gonna follow you now. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, I watched every single of your videos, you're my favorite, this and that, I'm gonna follow you now. What do you mean?
That's funny.
I have big boy influencers, big boy YouTube like stars that watch my stuff but don't follow me, don't like, don't interact. Do you get it? Like, I might speak to you behind the scenes, I might big me up behind the scenes, and a lot of people in the UK know who I am because of the Go Back to Ramadan video. And, even in Morocco, do you remember how many people came up to me and stuff like that? Like, so I should be on way more. But then I sit down and I say to myself, Wallah, and I know in times of weakness, I don't say this to myself, but majority of the time I say to myself, I'm not the problem. Yeah? I'm not.
You don't follow me.
No, I'm not the problem. if people don't want to see me do well and they don't want to follow the journey, they don't want to support me because of, I don't know, maybe they're scared I'm going to do better than them. I'm not going to lie. That's the majority of the time what I think. Or because, you know, they're not that kind of person that supports or whatever. That's their problem. I'm not the issue. I'm making my content. If my video gets 10k likes or if it gets 100k likes, that's still my content. Some people have enjoyed that. Femtini, like, I understand sometimes I sit there and I say, oh man, it did so bad. But then you got to understand that, number one, TikTok is all about algorithm, innit? And YouTube and all this stuff. It's all like algorithm and where you fall in, and it's very much a chance. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that your content isn't good.
Yeah.
And I know that, and you know what, it's weird because with TikTok, the less
effort you put in,
the better it does.
So
every video where I've gone, I don't care about the results, I've just done it quickly, posted it. I'm talking about 70% of those videos have hit over 1 million views.
Do you remember that day when we went out and then I did the video of the Moroccan auntie?
Yeah, you just put it on the side.
That went viral, mate. I didn't even say anything. But then the ones where I'm sitting there, and I'm translating, this and that, they don't do as well. But it's just, it is what it is.
That's why they say to post your drafts, because I'll literally pick up my camera, just say something for 30 seconds. Yeah, why did I have a dream that this over 1 million views? And then I spent 3 hours filming a video the other day, 5,000 likes. So that it can, and I know this might sound pathetic to some people. Sorry, let me just quickly say this. This might sound pathetic to you guys because I don't know who's watching this that is a content creator, but this is why I say, and it sounds pathetic even when you say it out loud, bro, views and your progression and like how people are supporting you and how well your content's doing can affect your mental health.
Obviously. And
it sounds crazy, but it can, and it can determine whether you're in a good mood that week or in a bad mood.
Can I be honest? I deal with that a lot, and I always feel ashamed to ever. That's why I don't try to bring it up, because I feel like it's almost like, oh, what you're letting this type of thing affect you, but it affects me a lot, man.
You shouldn't let people gaslight you.
There's an out there. I think there's a bigger picture.
Like, I feel like people would assume that, like, why are you going to care about that?
For example, let's say you work in an office, let's use, I don't know if this is a good analogy, and every week your boss is like, oh, big up he's doing a great job, and big up this person, but they never mention you because you're just that bit off the target.
Or like every month, everyone's got an employee of the month at least once, and you're there for years, you never got it.
But you're putting in hard work.
It's the same thing, because when brands, this is what people don't understand, look at content creators, they do that where graphs, they're like, oh, but we worked with blah 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 and they got 1 million views on their video and you only got 10k, so therefore this and that, and we're only going to pay you this much. And you do see that, and then as well, like, you naturally do that to yourself, you compare yourself a lot, but obviously it's like you said, it's a mental thing, it's not something that you're choosing to do. But if you can, just try to let go of any sort of expectations, because it's an algorithm, bro. You like, even if you do a video today and it just helps 3 people or inspires 2 people out of millions of people on the app, you've done your part. Do you get it?
What's crazy for me is I've worked on it a lot more. Like, I've gotten a lot better with it. Like, before I'd post, it did crap and it ruined my whole evening. Now, like, maybe an hour or 2, I'll be a bit stressed now, and I'm like, do you know what? We'll move on to the next. We move on to the next. But one thing that has, like, helped me is that this thing that I always think of, and it was mainly because of, like, you know, Russ. I know I've brought him up the second I've brought him on this podcast, but he has I really enjoy his mindset, and he talks a lot about his journey of, like, success, where he went through the same thing, posting music, nothing was working for him, and then eventually it did. I always just think this is part of my story. Like, I can't wait until something happens and I'm like, do you know what? And I can give someone motivation and tell them I was posting every single day, I got, like, nothing, no one was viewing anything, it was like a small amount of people, and then now I'm here. So that's what motivates me. I'm always like, I'm going to get to that point where I can say I went through stress and I was stuck here, but I made it through.
With you, I have a few things to say, but with you, I feel like it's the bigger picture as well. Like, you're thinking like, oh yeah, views, my content, my effort, but I think maybe it might apply to other things in life, or maybe there's like a bigger picture or something behind it that you don't subconsciously know just yet. Like, maybe you might need to dive deeper into why. Do you get it? But I understand why, because we all have it. But another thing I was going to say is, damn, I forgot. Oh, it was really important as well.
You sound like
I was going to say, so, 2 things. This is why I know it might sound a bit crazy to you guys watching, but if you see a content creator's videos, and even if you don't like it, like, save the video, comment, share it with your friend. That helps so much. And also,
if you care about that stuff, obviously, then I'm just gonna do it to every content creator.
No, the ones that you like, guys. I'm saying the ones that you like, support us. And also, I was going to say, and also shout out to the people that is, because sometimes your video will do bad, but there'll be 11 comments in there, and shout out to you.
Do you know
guys.
what? Wallah, that's what I was going to say. That's why I love Sadly Relatable, and I love the people that I've got that, like, they'll just comment and support. And I recently started this thing called Project 50, where I'm posting every day a mini vlog of my day.
And inshallah, one of them's gonna blow.
Inshallah. But that's been the most, I'll be honest, this has been the most trying for me mentally, because what happens is normally if I post a video, it doesn't do well, I'll wait a few days, the algorithm kind of sorts itself, I'll post it and then something goes big. But now I'm forcing myself to post, it doesn't do well, and I have to be like, accept it, post the next one. And it's kind of hard to do that.
No, we want to see it, we
but
like it.
People, recently, one positive thing that has been like helped me a lot is this is the first time I've been getting, your work recently has been amazing, your content has been amazing recently, you've put so much effort, like you've leveled up, this is so good. Someone goes, I've been loving these series, seeing the effort you're putting in. And it kind of like, although I'm like, nothing's happening, I feel like I'm slowly building something and people are seeing the effort I'm putting in, even though it's a small amount of people.
Even like the video you did where you replied to someone on where you put your camera in the car, like you could have helped someone. Do you get it? Like a new photographer or videographer that's just come up and you're helping them, because you might not appeal to like a lot of audiences, but you appeal to your audiences. Do you get it? And just because something's not viral doesn't mean it's not been seen. That's another thing. Your likes doesn't mean it's not been seen. Do you get it?
Or had an impact.
And as well, the algorithm might push it next week. You never know. Do you get it? But I do want to say what Nishrin said. Me and my mental health diagnosis. Maybe it might be something like you don't feel appreciated your whole life. Maybe, I don't know, you maybe look into it. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's appreciation. Like no one really says, hey, we're proud of you, pat on the back. Maybe that's what
so
you're missing.
Weird.
Nah, he did get that his whole life, man.
No, there's a difference.
Let him tell his story.
Nah, he got that his whole, I didn't get that, no, I'm joking.
No. Wallah, that's so weird that you say that, because I find myself wanting that in everything I do. Even yesterday I was playing Call of Duty, I won the game for us, and no one said to me, that was sick, because I've gotten better. Wallah, and I'm there like, is anyone guessed that I did that good? And they're like, yeah, but I see myself wanting more. I've recently been boxing, I do boxing, and I at the start I was getting a lot of praise, because obviously they felt like I was very much advanced for just starting and stuff like that. And obviously over time they're gonna get used to you. Okay, you're advanced, you're good. But as soon as I stop hearing that reassurance of, well done, you did good today, I'll start questioning myself.
You're an overthinker though.
That's what I was going to say. And also, I feel like maybe Allahu A'lam, innit? Like maybe where you was growing up, you might have been in the shadows.
Yeah, I was always bullied. They used to be like, you're tag along. And then I'd always have to, I'm talking
about in the family though. Like maybe.
No, mine's not family. I don't think mine's family. Okay. Mine's more my school.
He was the token child.
I was golden
but
child.
That's what I'm saying though. But look, when you're not the main attention as a child, as in negatively, sometimes you try to overcompensate to make sure that you're always being good, because you can't fill up, you can't have the opportunity to be bad because everyone else is struggling in the family. Do you get it?
I felt like that.
That's a first child syndrome.
I felt like that with mental health. For ages, I didn't accept that I had anxiety, and I would push it away because I felt like I was the only one in family who was okay.
Sorry, that reminded my sister.
Yeah, I was the only one that was not telling people that I was struggling with stuff, and I felt like I had to be the one person in the family who wasn't dealing with things, and it messed me up so much because it just took me ages to even accept that I had anything wrong with me.
I think maybe being a golden child has had an effect on you, because maybe you've just been good all the time, and you've always been good, so you might not
set yourself standards.
So maybe when you do reach certain goals or whatever, whether that was in your life or whatever, you didn't get as much praise as someone who was bad and then they'd done good. Like, oh, well done, you've done this. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe, I can see that.
But
Most of my trauma comes from school.
Also, if you were celebrated as a child and then you're no longer celebrated, you're like, hold on a minute.
That's what it is.
Where's the audience? Guys, hello.
That's
maybe.
So true.
Look, everything, that's what I'm saying. Mental health is everything. And it's not like an illness or anything, but the way you was brought up and certain things, remember, like, go into your character and how you are as an adult, really, like, that's why I feel like sometimes you do need to sit down and say to yourself, why do I have this feeling? Is it because of that? And this go back to the labeling thing. Not to give yourself labels, but to understand why you are a certain way, why you feel certain things. Do you understand? And maybe if you, I don't know, low element, if you go back and reflect and be like, okay, look, I don't always need praise. Sometimes my works, doesn't need this and doesn't need that. And maybe we all need to do that, because obviously I suffer from that as well. Do you get it? And look into that. Yeah.
It's crazy because I do get a mixture of that. A lot of the stuff that happened to me in school as well, like, I think it has shaped my personality in the way I am, with like wanting acceptance or wanting people to see what I'm doing and think it's good and stuff like that. Because I used to always
seeking validation.
Yeah, seeking validation and stuff like that. And also there's a sense of because I've always been, especially in social environments, I felt like I was always like the person that wasn't wanted there or wasn't needed. Like in school, they always call me a tag-along or not want to chill with me or anything. So I went
Where are they? I want to beat them up.
So I went through a lot of that. So there was almost that, imposter syndrome, that there was times when my videos were blowing up and people were messaging me and wanting to be around me, that I felt like I shouldn't be in this position. I was like, oh, maybe it wasn't that good. Like, I don't know. I just felt like I wasn't actually good. I'm faking it to the world. Like, yeah. Like sometimes I'll make a video. I'll make like a video in that, a videography video. And this is why when I started my production company, I wouldn't take on a lot of jobs. When videos blew up I made a drink video. When it blew up, I did 2. I got so many companies hit me up to do it, but I was so scared that I wasn't actually good, and I just got away with that one video that I wouldn't be able to do it for them. And I just
you were
didn't
so
reply.
good, Allahumma barik, like especially at what you do.
Yeah.
Like, but again, I feel like that's 100%. I agree with that. As in, like, I think that is something you deal with. But another thing is, I feel like that's something as well you need to look into. When I said to you, it's like your subconscious mind is a bigger picture, because even like, and I think you as well. I think we all have this. I don't know about you guys, but like,
imagine people just watching that. These guys are messed up without anyone's going.
Like, I will. Well, it's called Sadly Relatable.
Yeah, true.
I will achieve certain things in my life and my career, and then people around will be like, "That's really good," you know. I'm like, "Oh,
same." I don't know how to take a compliment. Okay. You know that, innit?
No, I'm just kind of like, "Is it?" Yeah, I can't enjoy what is like. There's been big moments in my life, and I'm just like, "Okay."
That happened to me with 2 things: Cult Beauty Cult Beauty. To be fair, I cried on live. That's how, because it was a big thing for me. As a 13-year-old, I would have like died to get But Charlotte Tilbury, when I worked with Charlotte Tilbury's team, like, everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is so big," and I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." And now when people say to me, "What's the best part of your career?" I would say it was working with Charlotte Tilbury, because for me that was a big thing. Do you get it? Like, it's just little me with all my trauma and my effed up childhood, and then it's like, now I get to work with Charlotte Tilbury, and I was the only hijabi there. Do you get it? So it's like, so it was like a big thing. Barakallah fik. It was a big thing, and then in the moment, everyone was like, "Yeah, it's really good," and I was like, "It's all right. It's good."
You don't know how to say to yourself, like, this is a big moment, you know. But that's why I say imposter syndrome's like, damn, every syndrome, just give it to us.
Innit? I love it all. I haven't even touched on my physical disabilities.
That's enough slices.
Oh my God. Innit? If I start on my physical disabilities, you're gonna be like, "Listen, throw
that's enough slices."
But yeah, that's it. That's where
laugh at my dad.
That's enough slices. You guys just see that video, right?
I feel like we should have you on again.
Part 3?
I feel like we're not done.
Imagine she starts being part of the podcast every episode.
Innit? All of a sudden now they're like, "Right, look, you guys get rid of her." No, I feel like that's just my life, and I do want people to understand that obviously the reason why we did this is to make people see me in a different light. I want people to understand that I'm not this really tough guy that can deal with everything. I have to put on that persona as real. I'm going to be real with you lot. I have to be tough, because my heart is, I really genuinely think my heart is pure, and I can't have people in my heart. Do you understand? If people knew what I'm actually like, people would take the mick out of me. Like, for example, hate comments. The way I handle hate comments is different to most influencers, isn't it? When people write hate on my videos, I could sit there and be like, "Oh my God, you guys are being mean," or "Why would you say that about me?" But then that's me allowing them to know that that's affected me. So instead, I say, "You know what? You can get out of my face. If you don't like it, keep scrolling. I don't care about your opinion." Then they're like, "Oh, right, sure, she doesn't care about that. So what else should we try?" Do you get it? And they're like, "What else can we try?" When they call me fat, I'm like, "Okay, I'm fat." And then, do you know what I mean? Say something different.
Showing that you're affected, I've realised, makes it worse, because there's been times as well. Well, I've noticed that when I don't give it any attention, they get bored. Well, there's a few accounts that haven't got bored, but it's okay, obsession. But when I'm like, "Oh my God, no, that's not nice," that's when they're like, "Oh."
That's what I'm saying to you.
They get through it. She noticed me.
Yeah.
Let me say something else. Let me do something else. But to ignore them.
That's what I've been trying to get. That's what I've been trying to get into your head, and you're seeing it now.
I've seen that loads. Like, people on Twitter, I remember they were like message a big YouTuber and be like, "I hate you, you're a piece of this, that," and then the person will reply like, "Oh, don't you have a better things to do in your life?" And they'll be like, "Oh my God, I love you so much. I didn't think you'd see it. I just wanted you to reply to me."
I've had that before, you know. I've had that before. Someone, I've seen bare DMs that people was like, "I love you," and then underneath will be like, "You're such a horrible cow." And then I'm like, "What?" And then I literally scroll up and I'm like, "But you was a minute ago, I'm like, whatever. But that's what, I'm sorry, and that's why I feel like social media for me is such a good thing, because I can deal with it. Because I genuinely don't care what anyone thinks, And it's not because I'm a horrible person and I'm not this tough guy. You're not worth my time. You're not worth my while. And social media is a horrible place, bro. You lot that are on social media might see it, but when you're a content creator, you see a different side, and you see how toxic people are in this whole bullying culture of like trying to, you know, fight an evil with an evil. It doesn't work out. And like, for example, like Hailey and Selena, people are bullying Hailey. Do you get it? Like, it's not going to fix the situation. Do you understand? So it's a very toxic place. And the minute you can just take yourself out of it and be like, look, these are human beings. Of course, they're entitled to their opinion, but it doesn't define me. I'm not the problem, unless you've obviously done something that like is on a massive scale or issue in that. But even then, there's ways to correct it. But don't sit there and like be consumed by people's comments, and because they're just bored.
Another end of the spectrum, though. Like, look, I'm sure there's a lot of people in here that have sent a hate comment, and you probably, maybe you actively are to someone else, to us, whatever. But are you not scared of God? Like, do you think that just because it's behind the phone, that on Judgment Day, God's going to say, oh no, it's fine, you're on a fake account? Like, one day, you and that person that you are bullying or trolling or speaking about or backbiting, whether it's freaking Selena or someone, an influencer in your area, you're going to be stood in front of God one day.
But not just God, sorry, because bare people don't pray, yeah? So, like, I'll be honest with you, innit? A lot of people don't pray, so we can't even come on the God thing. Realistically as well, do you have nothing better to do? You're sitting there. No, think about it. You're not rich. You're not rich. You don't have free time. Do you get it?
Imagine there was a rich guy who's got everything he wants, but he just likes to...
And he prays. And he prays.
Do you know what I mean? Like, sitting there, you're talking on someone else's life.
I think you're the lowest. Opinion. If you do that sort of stuff, I'll be honest with you.
You're jobless.
I think you're the lowest of lowest human beings. And but with that being said, I think it can change. Like, I think you can actively wake up and be like, you know what I've been doing isn't good, and become a better person.
Especially with the people that they go on a fake account and like... I can't even comprehend it.
And then the last thing is as well, like, you know how you said when you do good, you get, your heart opens and you feel happiness. The same thing when you're writing hate. I don't know if you realize it or not, but your heart starts to close off slowly. It gets, your heart starts to turn black and you know, dry, and it just shrivels up like that. And over time, it's going to get to you and you're going to be in a rut, bro. Just let bygones be bygones. Leave people to it. Trust me, wallahi, it will make your heart better. You're sitting there talking, and this is not just for the Muslims, obviously, for the non-Muslims as well. I'm sure you feel it. When you say something bad, when you get all riled up over some random person that you don't even know, it's going to affect you mentally. It's going to affect you subconsciously. It's going to affect you physically. Do you know what I mean? All them negative emotions that you're holding because of somebody else. Come on, man.
And it's okay. You don't have to like everyone. That's okay. You can not like people. But this normal thing that people do is block them and move on. Yeah. And another thing is, do you lot think, I say you lot, I don't know how many like people, trolls, whatever in here. Do you lot think that doing that sort of stuff, making fake accounts, sending hate on someone's videos, DMs, live, do you think that Allah's going to see that and think, yeah, let me bring goodness to this person's life. Let me give them what they want. Let me give them this and that. Like, that's why as well, me not doing that stuff doesn't come from a place of, I'm such a good person. It comes from, bro, I'm scared. I want good things from Allah. So I'm going to try my best not to backbite. I'm going to try my best not to try and hurt someone's feelings, whether I hate them or not. I'm just going to let them be. And yeah, guys,
and it's never too late to change.
Yeah, you can.
Like, share, comment, subscribe on this video and join us. And that is all for this episode. Nishan, where can they find you?
You can find me smiling on my pillow. You can find me at It's Nishan on Instagram and TikTok.
Jay, where can they find you?
j.gaz on Instagram and TikTok. And just Juju on YouTube as well, by the way.
And you can find me at Kayla Kasha on all social media platforms. Don't forget to follow Sadly Relatable Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Jay, thank you again for coming back. We appreciate you. You're always welcome on this podcast.
Thank you.
That was a very
when
nice
this video gets to 5k likes, when this episode gets to 5k likes, we'll have Jay on again.
Who said though? She didn't even ask.
Yeah, we're just forcing her to come back.
If I'm like really busy because I'm like so famous.
Like the second it hits it, the following week she'll be on it. So if
imagine
you
she
don't
gets
get
it
tonight, when it uploads, then she'll be on the next one.
I'm booking a flight.
But yeah, inshallah we'll have more episodes with Jay on it, because I do enjoy the conversation. I feel like you have a lot to bring and to teach and to advise people, mashallah. And yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I'll see you lot next week. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and check out my YouTube channel. Yeah, love you guys. Peace.
Bye.